We have the halls of Congress that are being shuffled by cowards. We have a geriatric despot who sits in the Oval Office. If we put Donald Trump back in command in the White House, my friends, we will embrace the spirit of our founding fathers. We will investigate Anthony Fauci and send him to jail for lying to Congress.
Well, that's not all Madison Cawthorn had to say. During the rally for Donald Trump in North Carolina, the congressman went on to say that if Trump is elected, President Biden would be impeached for dereliction of duty. But I'm guessing his speech will get a passing grade for Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, since he didn't mention orgies or cocaine orgies on Capitol Hill, because as we recently learned, that's the only Madison Cawthorn controversy that apparently crossed the line for the Republican leader. Trump made it clear that he's in Cawthorn's corner, though, saying he loves the congressman, but that's not the case for some North Carolina voters. NPR is reporting that many Republicans in the state are fed up. One retired sheriff said, quote, "I think everyone has pretty much jumped ship." A younger voter who voted for Cawthorn in the past says he's not going to do it again. The orgies and the cocaine comment was too much for him. Here to talk about all of this is NBC News senior national political reporter Marc Caputo, and a good friend from here in Miami. Marc, this NPR article seems to show that these controversies in Washington can make a difference with voters back home, even voters in that candidate's own party. How much of a divide is there between the Trump base and basically what's left of the GOP party?
Well, if you look at the polling, it's still Trump's party. Okay. And when Donald Trump has a Madison Cawthorn on stage and he does the performative politics he likes to do, that's good for Madison Cawthorn. The other thing is, in his congressional seat, he's got 7 opponents who are running against him in a primary. That's going to be difficult to unseat him if you've got too many people. It's basically a clown car primary. It usually is going to default to the incumbent.
So even though we see the cocaine orgy comments, we see the reporting that the support is dwindling for somebody like Madison Cawthorn, who by all accounts some people are saying is a liability to the party, just because he's an incumbent, we have this feeling that maybe he's going to be able to hold this seat? Incumbents
almost always win. Now, he did at one point talk about moving to another seat and then changed his mind. And he's had a very long history of, let's just say, exaggerating. Like he exaggerated, or he didn't tell the truth about being accepted into the Naval Academy. He apparently, according to the man who was in the car accident with him that put him in a wheelchair, said that he didn't tell the truth about his status or his role in the car crash, or, you know, how healthy he was afterward. Madison Cawthorn said he was basically dead. Apparently that wasn't true. There are a variety of untrue statements. So the cocaine and orgies thing kind of fits within his pattern.
His brand?
Yeah, that's kind of what he does. He's like, I don't know if you saw that old movie Big Fish about the guy who serially exaggerates everything. It sounds like that's Madison Cawthorn.
There's also Jim Carrey, Liar Liar too, right? That was another movie. So let's talk about the performance aspect of politics. You just mentioned it, performative politics. Right now, specifically moments like this. Take a look.
Maybe we would be better at them if the National Defense University actually worked a little more on strategy and a little less on wokeism.
Do you agree with this book that is being taught with kids that babies are racist?
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how faithful would you say you are?
Is crack cocaine more dangerous than powder, or less, or the same?
I must tell you, these leftist politicians, corporate media outlets, some of these activist groups, they actually have read the bill. And they're sloganeering because they don't want to admit that they support a lot of the things that we're providing protections against. For example, they support sexualizing kids in kindergarten.
So let's take a closer look at what some of these politicians actually do and get done. For instance, Representatives Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Madison Cawthorn. In all of their time in Congress, Mark, those 4 lawmakers have sponsored 80 bills, and only one of them has been passed by the House. It is worth noting 3 of the 4 have only been in office when the House had a Democratic majority. This does not include co-sponsored bills. Mark, how are we going to fix this brand of performative politics? You've been around, you've seen it all. Is there a fix to this?
I don't want to be too much of a pessimist, but politicians wouldn't be doing this if it didn't work. And ultimately, Congress for a number of years has not been very productive. I think it's probably fair to call many Congresses do-nothing Congresses. Now, that having been said, they did pass massive spending bills, which, you know, only now are people realizing kind of the import and the amount of policy that's in them. But by and large, your average member of Congress is going up there, is taking votes that ultimately are on bills that don't pass, whether it's Matt Gaetz or AOC. I mean, the reality is that, especially if you're in the minority, as you said, your influence is attenuated.
So That's pretty pessimistic, though,
Yes,
Mark.
it is.
You've been able to look at races, and some like the Madison Cawthorn race, some like even Matt Gaetz in our home state of Florida. Is there some type of secret sauce that the Democrats are missing an opportunity to be able to achieve, other than just voters saying, I'm just not going to vote that person into office?
Well, it depends on the district as well. Like Matt Gaetz's district, for instance, and Madison Cawthorn's districts, these are Republican districts, and they ultimately reflect their electorate. That's why they get elected. So, are Democrats missing that secret sauce in those swing districts? Well, the number of swing districts is decreasing, just in part because of the nature of gerrymandering.
And also, the gerrymandering problem is the biggest one.
And also, we're segregating ourselves, and Republicans are increasingly living closer to each other, and Democrats are increasingly living closer to each other. So get ready to see more of this. I'm not sure I see much of a change for quite some time.
Well, Marc Caputo, we're going to have to get a Kornacki board. I'm going to be Katie Kornacki with you. We're going to look at the geographic grouping of the political parties. Marc Caputo, NBC News senior political reporter, thank you for being with us today on set.